If you want to make your first $1 million, there's one book you need to use. This book is about the laws of the universe. If you know how the universe operates, don't you think you'll know how money operates? If you can get the laws of the universe on your side, don't you think you can get money on your side? In this video, I'm going to show you how to generate your first $1 million by using the Kabbalion. 5 years ago, I was broke, sleeping on a basement floor. 3 years later, I generated over $1 million in online business through various endeavors and have been a top earner in my country for the past 4 years. Now I help my clients do the same, all by using principles from this book. Now, I'm going to guide you through the laws of the universe, not in order, but in a way that will make the most sense for earning your first $1 million. Let's get into it. Firstly, I should probably tell you how I came to earning significant amounts of money. So in 2020, 2021, I was very broke, sleep on a basement floor. COVID had messed with my work as a sound engineer because I used to be a sound engineer. And through a series of events, I came to find that I had the skills to manage creators in the OnlyFans business, the adult entertainment business. Now, if you have a problem with that, you're welcome to leave, but you're gonna miss out. Don't allow your judgments currently to get in the way of your money. And we're gonna talk about that soon. But yeah, I ended up managing one creator, and in our first month, we did $400. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. Like, what am I gonna do? This is crazy. I heard you can make money here. I'm desperate. I need to make money. So I ended up paying $1,000 to somebody I knew in a business who was making $60,000 a month. And I got on a call with this person and he taught me everything in about an hour and a half. I implemented what he told me, made $4,000 the next month, and was at $4,000 for a little while. And then other people in the business were like, you got to hire staff, 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 you got to hire staff. And I was like, they can't do the job as well as me. I don't trust anyone to do it. They're not going to do it well. I'm going to lose money. And they still said, hire staff, hire staff, hire staff. You have no time. You're burning through your life. You're not making significant amounts of money. What's the risk? I said, fine. But I still had this problem of like control. I did not want people to mess up things. So I actually developed a system for hiring and for training that would ensure, as long as they followed it, they could not mess things up. This is what you call standard operating procedures. I didn't know what that was. Someone told me, oh, you made a SOP. I was like, I don't know what the heck that is. What the heck's a SOP? I just didn't want people to mess it up, right? So as I continue to speak and you notice how money operates and how business operates, it's really all the same across multiple vectors, across multiple businesses. The only things that change are the product, the people you sell that product to, and the perception you have in those people's minds. And perception is just brand. So the things I learned in the adult business actually translate to many other businesses. I'm not here to tell you to sell explicit content, right? But anyways, I developed a system for hiring. And after I got my first hire that same month, I made $10,000 instead of $4K. So I made $10,000 that month. And then we moved up to $20,000, and we had months where we did $30,000. Now this was life-changing money now, super life-changing money. From being on the basement floor to having $30,000 months was absolutely insane. And I was learning so much about business, and I didn't realize it at the time. Now, in that space, it's kind of like an underground thing of people who are managing, of people who are helping creators, of creators who are trying to make money. It's like an underground thing of like Telegram groups and Discords, et cetera, et cetera. There's some people that have more forward-facing brands on YouTube teaching people about the adult business. But for the most part, it's like pretty underground because it's very taboo. Somebody came to me and saw the progress I had made. And they're like, do you think you could teach people what you did? I'm like, yeah, for sure I can teach people. So I ended up being able to sell information to about 100 people. And that made me around probably a little over $300,000. So that was a significant income jump in a quick period of time, selling the information I had in my head. But deep down, I knew I did not want this business to be my future. It was not my purpose. It was not my mission. It was not my vision. So Life has funny ways of working, and everything happens divine and right on time. I was in that business for a particular reason, so I could do what I'm doing now. I ended up meeting somebody who worked for a telecommunications company, and he was having trouble in his position, and he needed staff and he needed help, but he didn't have the budget for it, and the tasks were really redundant, and people didn't want to do the job and all this type of stuff. And I said, well, why don't you just hire virtual assistants? He's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean hire virtual assistants? And I spoke to him for about an hour, and he ended up implementing what I told him, which is essentially the hiring process and the SOP process I built in the adult business. And he implemented that in his company, the company he was working for. And they moved him from a mid-5-figure position to a 6-figure position because he had generated so much revenue and profit for the business in his department. And he bought me a bottle of alcohol to thank me, which I didn't drink. My family drank it all while I was on vacation. But at that moment, when he said, yeah, they moved me to a 6-figure position, at that moment, I realized, whoa, the stuff I learned over selling OF content and helping people in the OF business was actually translatable to other things. I was like, whoa, what the hell? And I'm like, let me test my theory. Let me make sure I'm not crazy. So that's when I started my Next Realm program. And I said, look, I'm going to be opening this new thing. I'm going to try it for free with some people to see if I can actually help you get results. I want to take what I know and see if I can help you make money doing what you do. And I had opened it for free originally. And I had about 10 people come in. 2 of them took it seriously. And this is one thing we will talk about, because when you offer things for free, people don't take them seriously. When people have to pay, they take it seriously. But there are some people who are very driven who will take free things seriously. So about 2 of them got significant results. I was like, oh shoot, what I learned over there actually works over here and here and here and here and here. And it absolutely changed my life. And that's when I started putting content into the world. I learned far more about how the universe operates, how the mind operates, how people operate from my mentor, Lewis Mocker, and my mentor, John DeMartini. I learned a lot more about essentially the universe. And then I read this book, The Kabbalion, which kind of breaks down how the universe operates, and it can apply to business. So that's what I do now. And everything I've learned, I'm going to teach you here so you can earn more money and make your first $1 million. Now, enough about me, my story, some of it at least. Now let's get into it. In the Kabbalion, the second law of the universe, the second law of Hermeticism, is correspondence, meaning as above, so below. So y'all have seen me draw on this diagram if you've been on my channel before, but the universe is broken up into spiritual, mental, and physical planes. So here we got spiritual, here we got mental, here we got physical. All right. Now, at the peak of the spiritual plane is what the Hermetics call the All, or the Christians call God, or the Muslims call Allah, or the Hindus call Brahman, or the atheists call the Big Bang. It's essentially the initial creation spark of the universe, whatever we deem that to be, religious or not. There is an original creation spark of the universe, and that's where everything originates from. The mental plane is your mind. The physical plane is physical reality. So when it comes to making money, the first thing you need to do is to solve a problem. You need to solve a problem. Why is this? Because of the 4th law of Hermeticism, the 4th law of the universe, polarity. In the mind, you deem things as positive and negative. You think things are good and things are bad. And people only part with money to solve problems and pain. I want you to understand this, and I need you to drill this into your mind. People only part with money to solve problems and pain. You might not understand that or realize that currently, but I'm going to tell you how this operates. You go to the grocery store to solve the pain of hunger and death. You do not want to die, which your mind, your brain, your amygdala, all right, which I'm going to write here, amygdala, is an old part of the brain. I'm going to need space, so I got to erase this. We'll write problem again after. Your amygdala is an old part of the brain which is concerned about polarized states, negative and positive. So the amygdala is worried about pain. It's worried about predators. It's worried about fear. It's worried about shame because you could get ostracized by the group and die. It's worried about sadness because it doesn't feel good. The amygdala hunts for and craves pleasure instead of pain. It craves prey instead of being eaten, predator. It craves fantasy over fear. It craves pride over shame. It craves happiness over sadness. And in order to move from these states of pain and problems and what you deem as negativity, you are willing to use money to cross over to this side. Here's the thing. This side is also only temporary. What you are ultimately trying to do in business when people part with their money is, yes, you are moving them from this side to this side. You are moving them from pain to pleasure, but only temporarily, because eventually what was once a pleasure, what was once a fantasy, what was once a pride becomes normal. This is due to the law of vibration, which is the third hermetic law of the universe. So we have fast vibration, the initial creation spark of the universe, and then here we have slow in the physical realm, and you have all these different rates of vibration. Vibration is just your level of awareness. So when you hear all these people telling you about frequency and vibration and blah, 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 and you need to align with the vibration frequency, blah, 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 it's a fancy way of them telling you you need to be more aware of how things operate. So how does this work? You paid your money to go from, let's say, a pain state to a pleasure state. So let's say you want to lose weight. It's painful for you that you haven't lost weight. Your wife doesn't look at you the same, or you're not as fit, or you don't feel you look as good. You're in a pain state and you want to move over to a pleasure state. And you pay somebody to train you to bring you to that pleasurable state where you look in the mirror and you're like, this is great. But eventually you look in the mirror and it becomes normal. Why is this? Because when you combined a negative electron in an atom and a positive positron in an atom, when you bang them together, you get gamma rays, which creates light, and you become more enlightened, and you become more like the all. You become more like God. You become more enlightened. You become more aware. So ultimately, when we are selling things to people, yes, we are moving them from pain to pleasure, but we are also increasing their awareness, which increases the entire consciousness of the planet, the entire consciousness of everybody out there. So when you're selling people things, you really have to ask yourself, is this bettering the consciousness of the planet? This is why we've been able to progress so fast, because awareness compounds upon itself. This is why we've been able to progress so fast, and why the rate of awareness is increasing so fast. We have so much knowledge. We have so much things that we know, so much things that we can do, and we still haven't tapped into 1% of what we could really do. Anyways, you need to solve a problem. Because people only part with money due to pain. Even if you pick up a $10 bill off of the ground, you are going to use that $10 bill to solve some sort of pain. You're very unlikely to pick $1 million up off of the ground, because people are going to be more careful with that, and they're not just going to drop $1 million. If you find $1 million on the ground, best believe there's somebody looking for it, and they're going to come get you. They're going to come find you, because there's no free lunch in the universe, despite whatever your little manifestation teacher wants to tell you. There is no free lunch in the universe. So when it comes to solving a problem, you need to solve a problem you have experience with. Okay? Have you gone from being overweight to being fit? Have you gone from broke to making some money? Have you gone from single to having a relationship, or do you have a lot of experience with relationships? What can you do to help people? What have you done in your life that is useful and other people would find use for? Now, this doesn't always have to be a skill or a service. It can be a physical product. So you got skills, you got services. You got education. You got physical products, PEP. Get your mind out of the gutter. Let's grow up here. Okay? You got physical products. How does a physical product solve a problem? Well, if you sell laundry detergent, you're solving the problem of people having dirty clothes and wanting those clothes cleaned. If you sell jewelry, you're solving the problem of people feeling better about themselves, looking better, status, people looking at them and saying, oh, that's a nice piece of jewelry. That's a pleasurable state and a pride state for people. Oh, they said something nice about me. Versus if they were to wear a piece of jewelry that people say, what is that? That's whack. Then they'd be in a shame state and they would never buy your product again. So physical products also deal with this pain to pleasure transition. Now, a lot of people ask me, oh, Seth, what problem do I solve? I don't know what problem to solve. What problem do I solve? What problem? You got to do some searching. Write down at least 20 things in your life. At least 20. You can write more. I've had people write 100. Write at least 20 things that you have solved in your life. Take the time and write it down. And then ask yourself, would I love to solve this problem for other people? This boils down to your values, okay? Values are very important. Values are spiritual plane stuff. So what you value. If you don't know what you value, you got to get my value finder tool. Link is in the description below for that. It is very important that you do what you value. Otherwise, you will not be able to pursue business, pursue money, or not pursue money, attract money for the long haul, because you will be out of alignment with it. You will be out of sync with it. You will not like what you are doing. And you will start and stop and start and stop and start and stop and start and stop and quit. How many times have you done this? How many times have you started to do something? Quit. Started to do something? Done. Oh, I don't like this anymore. Done. Right? You won't be able to keep on the path because you're not doing what you care about. Me, I enjoy talking about the laws of the universe, and I value business. So I combine those two things and I make videos about it, and I've been doing it for the past 2 years, and I don't have any intention of slowing down because I actually value what I'm doing. So if you don't value what one of these 20 things are, you're gonna have a hard time. Just because other people are making money selling fitness doesn't mean that simply because you're fit, you should sell fitness. Because if you don't care enough about selling fitness or helping other people get fit, you're not gonna do it. You're gonna be like, this is whack. I don't wanna do this. So once you know the problem that you're solving and who you solve it for, this is important. Who do you solve it for? So me, I help people earn more money through business using the laws of the universe. So I like to help business owners. I like to help entrepreneurs. I like to help people who are interested in getting into business. Now, I've helped people who are not into business. I've helped people get promotions. I have a client who got a $10,000 promotion. I have my own brother got another promotion through when he's in the Next Realm program. Who else? I have a therapist who expanded her practice. So it's not necessarily getting into like online business. You don't have to do that, but that's who I cater to. I like people who like business, like online business, and are into a level of spirituality and universal law type stuff. So that's who I help. And it's very important that you know who. You can't just go and say, I serve everyone. I help everybody. Because too much selection is no selection at all. Too much choice is no choice at all. If you go to the shoe store and there's thousands of shoes everywhere, it is way harder to choose than if there is one shoe to buy. Okay? So you got to know what thing you are solving, what problem you are solving, and who you are solving it for. How do you move somebody from this state, this pain state, to this pleasure state, and eventually to a state where it's entirely normal for them? After that, you need a process. Why do you need a process? Because you need to be able to order your thoughts. You need to be able to order your thoughts. Order is the way of God. The more orderly you are, the more you are within the energy of God, your God energy, because the initial creation spark of the universe is the simplest, most orderly point of the universe. Up here we have order, in the physical realm we have chaos. The only reason we have chaos in the physical realm is because of polarity, because of people seeing things as good and bad and good, etc. And so what I talked about, judgment, right? So there are people who judge me for my past in managing in the adult business. There are people who judge me for that, and they won't be able to learn what I know because their judgment has blocked them. Now, that's not to say just because somebody did something you don't like doesn't mean you condone what they did. It doesn't mean you condone what they did, and it doesn't mean that there's other things you can't learn from them, because there is no negative without positive and no positive without negative. Yin and yang. There is no light without some dark and no dark without some light. So be very careful about judging people, because when you point your finger, you have three pointing back at you. What you judge in others, you have within yourself. And the sooner you see those traits within you, you can think more clearly and become more enlightened. Remember, I talked about enlightenment and awareness. The less charged you are, the more you will be able to see what somebody has to teach you, even through things you might not like. So, when it comes to process, you need to be orderly and avoid chaos. So you need to look at your life, and you need to look at the problem you're solving and ask yourself, how did I solve this? What did I do? Break it down into steps. How did you get fit? Did you change your diet? What kind of exercises did you do? How often did you do them? How many times a day? What was the intensity? Break it down into a process. Because people are attracted to a roadmap. People like certainty when they are buying something. Why is this? Because the amygdala wants to keep you safe. All right. Actually, I'll just write safe here. It wants to keep you safe, and it wants to escape danger. Danger, man. This thing is so hard to draw with, guys. It's crazy. But I will master it at some point in time. Your amygdala wants to keep you safe, and it wants to avoid danger. So when people feel like they have certainty in your methods, they're far more likely to buy from you. Let me ask you, if you were in a dark cave with spikes everywhere, and if you stepped on them, they would pierce through your foot, and there's two guides. One guide, he knows the cave. He knows the cave. He's been through the cave. He just says, just follow me. I know the way. I've done this a lot of times. And there's another guide who says, follow me. I have a lantern. You will see the spikes. Who are you more likely to follow? The guy with the lantern, because you are going to feel more certainty that you can see what's going on, and you just have to trust this guy off of vibes, the other guy off of vibes. Here you can see what's going on, so you're going to follow the guy with the lantern. So the reason you want to process is to create certainty in people so that they have a lantern guiding them. Now, here's the thing about certainty. When it comes to business, you as a business owner are going to have to deal with a level of uncertainty while creating certainty in your clients. So you don't know if you put something out to the world, if people are going to buy that day. You don't know. So you have to deal with a level of uncertainty, but you need to let your clients know and people know that you can help them, and you are certain you can help them. And you need to be honest. If you can't help them, don't help them. That's why when I opened the next realm, I opened it for free originally to see if I could actually help people. And luckily I did. The other reason you need a process is to prove to yourself you know what you're talking about for your own self, for your own certainty. It also makes it, if you have a process, it makes your business more scalable, which means you can reach more people, make more money without burning yourself into the ground. And if you're like me, you'll actually know what you're talking about and be able to teach it. Demonstrating expertise is very important because, once again, it develops certainty. You need proof. People need proof, especially now. If you're going to sell information or you're going to sell knowledge in your head, everybody thinks everyone is a scammer because people have come online and done nothing but marketing, which we'll get to later. They've done nothing but marketing constantly. And when people buy things from them, they have trash products because they focus so much on marketing instead of delivering a result for people. And they just thought to themselves, more people, more people, more people, more people, instead of helping the people who has already paid them. If there's one thing I want you to remember, the people who have paid you need to be treated better than the people who haven't. Why are you going to treat the people who have never paid you any money, haven't parted with more significant value? Why are you going to treat them less better than random new people? That's like treating girls out on the road that you don't know better than your wife. That doesn't make sense. Okay? So remember that. It's scalable. And 2, to teach, right? So you have a process. Now, when it comes to building this process, you can create a course, you can create videos, you can create a class. But here's the thing. Courses are great, videos are great, but most people are, 1, not even going to watch them, and 2, not even going to complete them. I think the completion rate for courses is less than 10%. And the watch time on videos, even free YouTube videos, guys, free YouTube videos that provide value to people for free, watch time for most YouTube videos is less than 50%, which means people don't even watch half of the video. So what people really need is access. They need access. If you sell knowledge, if you have a service, if you have a skill, it's different with a physical product. They get the physical product and that's done. But if you're selling a service, if you're selling knowledge, if you're selling education, information, people need access. People need to be able to speak to someone who knows what they're doing. Why is this? Because people have nuanced problems. People have nuanced problems because of the different charges they have in the mind of negative and positive. Everyone has different charges. Everyone has different blocks in the way. Everyone has different fears and fantasies. Everyone has different instances of when they had shame and when they had pride. They have different things that make them sad and happy, different things that they feel are dangerous, and different things that make them feel safe. So everyone is like a nuanced Rubik's Cube to solve. So you need access for your specific problems. This is why, yeah, sure, people will watch YouTube videos and then try and implement them, and it will work. You know, if you watch my stuff and you implement it, it will work. But then you're going to run into a problem that I haven't made a video for. I can't get into your head. You understand? So that's why I need access to people. When I went from $400 to $4,000, it was because I paid someone $1,000 to teach me. I had access. When people wanted to learn about staffing, they paid for access to me because they had nuanced problems. So there's a book. Where's my book, man? Where's my book? Where's my book? It's called There Is No How. Maybe that'll get in focus. There Is No How by Kapil Gupta. Kapil is a mentor to some heavy hitters like Naval. All right, if you don't know who Naval is, he's a Silicon Valley multimillionaire. He might be a billionaire, I'm not sure. Very wise man, very successful entrepreneur, and he's also a consultant to royalties, a consultant to high-level entrepreneurs. But he's low-key. He's a low-key master of what he does. This book, There Is No How, teaches you that for nuanced problems, there's no mechanical solution. So you do need a process, right? You need a process, and a process that works. But understand, people are going to get stuck in nuanced ways, and those videos are not going to solve the problem for them. Here's an example. If there was a kid born in, I think Elon Musk is from South Africa. So if there was a kid born in South Africa to the same circumstances that Elon Musk was born to, with the same level of intellect, and Elon Musk wrote out how he became as successful as he is monetarily, step by step by step by step by step, that kid could follow those steps and not be Elon Musk, not get the same outcomes. Why? Because there is no how for a nuanced problem. So eventually your business will have nuanced problems that you need access for to solve. So people are really paying for access to you, to your brain, to solve their nuanced problems. So just remember that. Read this book. This book will either piss you off or enlighten you. All right. And if you're not polarized about it, it will enlighten you, because it's written in a way that at first will annoy the crap out of you, because you're designed to think about this. You're designed to think about how. But there's no how for a nuanced problem. All right. So you have a process. Then you need proof that it works. Why is anybody going to pay you if you don't have proof that your thing works? So back to laundry detergent. If you go off and buy laundry detergent and your clothes end up more dirty than before the laundry detergent, are you ever going to buy that laundry detergent again? No. You got to prove that it works. That's why when I started my Next Realm business, I let people in for free. Now, there's two ways you could go about doing this, right? Put P for proof, and we'll put two lines this way. One is free, one is paid. Just like anything else in life, there's benefits and drawbacks to both of these methods. So if you go free, you're going to get more people, but you're going to get less results. Meaning you're going to get less proof, because people don't take things that are free seriously. Only a seldom percentage of the population does. About 5% who are action-oriented people. 5% of the population takes free stuff seriously, and they will actually act upon it. Paid, if you're going to make people pay for something you're just launching, you're just putting into the world that you don't have proof for yet, it can't be that expensive. And you're going to be, well, I shouldn't use the word expensive. Expensive is a limited mindset, but it's going to have to be reasonably priced. And because you have no proof, like you don't have any proof that it works, but so you're going to get less people, but you're going to make money. You get money, and you'll probably get better results because they had to pay. Equivalent exchange in the universe. If you pay for something, you're more likely to take it seriously. Now, I started with free because I already had a source of income. I was already making money. I already had savings. I didn't need to desperately try and sell something. And desperation is not very good for sales. A lot of the times people come to me and they're like, should I quit my job? I'm like, no, don't quit your job, because you need to survive. You need money. Okay. So that's why I was able to do things for free, because I had a source of income. If you don't have a source of income, you're going to have to do it paid, and you're going to have to deliver. You're going to have to deliver. And here's the easiest thing to do. If you don't have any results yet and you want to get paid, offer a guarantee. All right. I'm just going to write G there for guarantee. Actually, let's say 100% money back. That way you remove the risk. You get them the result or you don't get paid. That is how, if you are new and don't have any proof, that is how you mitigate the risk of the customer and the client and get some money and deliver. Okay? If you want to do it the paid way and you need money today. Otherwise, work your job and do it for free and build. See if you can actually help people. Once you've proven that what you do works and you've actually gotten a result. So my first client that got results, he made a $1,000 sale. And then 2 weeks later, he made $2,000 sale. And then he was making $2,000 sales. And then he moved homes. He got a new car. I had another client early on. He got a $1,000 sale to coach Taekwondo online. Then he got more sales. He was actually able to relocate from his job. He was able to work remotely. So I got wins. And then that's when I started really pushing on YouTube, because I knew that it worked. Now, after you know you have results, you need to let people know about your stuff. Let people know. This is marketing. And this is where people have the biggest hurdles. This is where people have the most massive blocks to earning money. Okay? biggest block is here. Why? Let's go back up to our diagram of the universe. Because people have negative and positive charges about how things are supposed to be and how things are supposed to feel and how quickly they're supposed to be successful. You have fears in the way of putting yourself out there and putting a message into the world. You have shame about your real story and your authentic self, and you think people are going to get at you and say bad things about you and dislike you and make you feel ashamed, and then you're going to feel like you're in danger and that you're going to be ostracized and never make money ever. You might also have fantasies about how much money you're supposed to earn and fantasies about how it's supposed to feel along the journey. It's not always going to feel good. It's not meant to feel good all the time. And then you look at other people and you see them pop off out of nowhere like, oh my God, they blew up so big so quickly. Let me tell you, the fifth hermetic law of the universe, rhythm. There is a cosmic pendulum that runs throughout reality, that runs throughout your life, as my mentor calls it. Lewis Mocker calls it the cosmic pendulum, okay? If you swing up incredibly fast, there is a return swing that will make you drop just as quickly. This is why you have the one-hit wonder effect. One-hit wonder, boom, you never see him again because they grew so quickly, so fast. Anyone who is successful and sustains for a long time, it was not no super speedy ascent because they would lose what they have just as quickly. And you get put on a rhythm. Your mind is also in a rhythm, bouncing back and forth between your fears and your fantasies, your shames and your prides. You have fear about putting yourself out there, but then you have a fantasy about putting yourself out there, and you oscillate between the two, and you end up not moving ever. Okay? It's also how you get addicted to social media. So you have fears or shames about what your current life is. You hop on social media looking for the fantasy and looking for the solution, and you see everybody with nice trips and nice houses on Instagram and stuff, and then you see that, but you don't have that. So you get depressed and you go back to a fear and shame state. And then what do you have to do? You have to go back on social media to get that hit. And then you go back and forth and 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 back and forth. You get the idea. You're stuck in a rhythm. All right. This is also part of your frequency. It is part of your awareness. You think your life is on a loop because it is. So what you need to be able to do is cancel out these things, cancel out these fears and fantasies, so that you are able to actually show up authentically in the world. And being authentic is just living by your highest values. What you value the most, you show up with that every single day, and you do that every single day in your life, and you will be an authentic person. And that's what translates. So, back to let people know. It is the biggest block. When I work with people, the biggest hurdle they have is creating content. Now, content is really effective. It's really effective for most businesses, but it's really effective for services. It's really effective for education. It's really effective for community-based offers. It's even effective for physical products as well, depending on what the physical product is. Content is helpful in general. Why do you need to put out content? Once again, universal laws, the law of gender, okay? So you have masculine projection, okay? Projection and feminine receiving. You need to project a message into the world. When you project a message into the world, you are pushing on that cosmic pendulum. Like I said, you project a message, project a message, project a message. You get better and better at demonstrating your message and demonstrating how you can help people. And the return swing happens and you receive income. Money, income is a feminine vector. It is a feminine vector. It is a receiving vector. But you only get it through masculine projection. So people will say, well, you worked with a bunch of girls in the OnlyFans business. Like, isn't that just feminine energy? No, it's masculine projection. Okay? They had to put pictures out on Instagram. They had to make reels. They had to make YouTube videos. They had to do all this projection. They basically had to get famous in order to generate money. Okay? They had to get in front of people. And then people say, I want to see more. Right? So it was masculine projection that created feminine receiving. And a lot of people think that like it's just gonna be easy. Just simple, it's just easy, simple. Oh man, that business is so simple. How could you do that? That's the easy way out. No, it's not. There's about 1.4 million creators on OnlyFans right now. About 1.4 million. Making $10,000 a month puts you in the top 1.5 to like 2% of that. So let's use 2%. Out of 1.4 million people, only 28,000 are making over $10,000 a month. That is very, very tiny. Why? Because it requires effort. It requires effort. And people, once again, talking about judgment, people like to judge these people, judge these women's, effect on society and only see negative things when there is no negative without positive. There is no benefit without drawback, no drawback without benefit. Remember this. Yin yang. They like to judge all these women and stuff when they're not realizing the level of effort actually required to earn the sort of money that they earn. And the fact that you don't put in that level of effort is you judging yourself. You're judging them and judging yourself at the same time because you're not putting in that level of effort. You understand? It requires effort. It requires effort to win. So you got to project something into the world. Project. For me, it's YouTube videos demonstrating how I can help people. And you can't have a fantasy about how long it's supposed to take. I see people, they make content for like 3 months and they're like, I haven't gotten any sales. Yeah, it's been 3 months, bro. It's not a long time. You need to have a longer time horizon in life. And this is why you need to do what you value. You need to do what you value. Because when you do what you value, you can go the long haul. It's not work. This is not work for me. I like to do this. I value doing this. I will make these videos regardless if this video pays me or the next video pays me or they don't pay me. I'm going to make them because I care about it. I value it. It's part of my purpose. It's part of my mission. It's part of my vision, which is created by your values. So if you don't do what you value, content will be hell for you every single time. Because when it comes to content, I can help you. I can teach you a lot. But if you don't care about what you're doing, it's a waste of time. Giant waste of time. And if you don't get over your charges, your negative and positive perceptions, which are not even real, they're not real. They're just perceptions. If you don't get over them, you're going to be someone that constantly has ideas. And you know these people, oh, that would be a good idea. I should do that. Oh man, I got an idea for this. I should do that. And they don't take action on anything because they're not doing what they value and they're not doing what they care about. So you will be a person with a bunch of ideas, no execution, and your life will stay stuck. You'll stay where you are. We don't want that to happen. So you need to put a message into the world. You need to put content out there. You need to show people how you can help them. You need to prove you can do it. You need a process to do it. You need a problem that you solve. And this is literally how the universe operates in terms of money. So rewatch this video and take notes. Whoa, this one's a big one today. All right. Whoa. So rewatch this video, take notes, and you will be able to earn money. If you need any help with it, link is in the description below. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.